Council in session. Please stand for the Worshipful, the Mayor of the Borough Decorum, Councillor Brenda Link.
Good evening, everyone, once again. Does the Council agree the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 17th of April 2024 and the 15th of May 2024? Thank you. There's declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest? No? Public participation. We have a question from Dr. Keval Shah. Dr. Shah, if you could please read out your question, and if I could remind you to read this out exactly as submitted.
Thank you very much. Dear councillors, my name is Dr. Keval Shah, and I'm a dental surgeon residing in the borough. I would like to begin my question by very briefly highlighting two important facts. The first of these is that the scientific evidence is clear that eating animals has a much higher environmental impact than eating plant foods. With respect to greenhouse gas emissions, water pollution, and land use, plant-based foods are consistently more sustainable and have a much lower carbon, energy, water, land, and waste footprint. The second fact is that the Decorum Council has declared an ambitious climate target of being net zero as an organization by 2030, and net zero as a borough by 2050. Positive steps have already been made in achieving this goal in many areas, and this should be commended, but far more needs to be done, especially in light of the research carried out by the World Wildlife Fund that discovered that all wildlife is projected to go extinct by 2026 if we carry on consuming the way we are. And if the wildlife die, so will the forests and the oceans, both of which are vital for our own survival, through the provision of oxygen, the sequestration of excess carbon dioxide, the regulation of the planet's climate, and maintenance of the water cycle. Absent in the Council's climate strategy is reference around the types of food eaten in the borough, despite the fact that changes in diets are one of the most significant ways that people can reduce their climate impact. The 2021 National Food Strategy recommends a shift towards a plant-based diet for the health of both people and the planet. The Council has an important part to play in encouraging this shift in the borough. My question, therefore, is, in light of the climate and ecological emergencies that is threatening survival of all life on Earth, will the Council commit to 100% plant-based internal catering? Other councils across the country have made similar commitments. Calderdale, Exeter, Oxfordshire. I believe that such a commitment is a logical next step following the declaration of a climate emergency, and a step that would send a powerful message to residents and businesses across the borough about the importance of a more sustainable diet. I urge the Council to seriously consider leading by example in making this commitment. Considering what is at stake, this is not a big ask at all, but the very least we need to do is to save the world as we know it and leave behind a planet that our succeeding generations can hopefully survive on.
Councillor Allen, I think you're going to answer.
Thank you for your question. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do not intend to be completely plant-based in our catering because we believe that sustainability is multifaceted and we strive to balance various aspects of ecological responsibility in our food choices. To this end, we endeavour to ensure that any catering undertaken by DBC on our premises is sustainably sourced, healthy, and minimises impact on the climate and ecological emergency by avoiding meat and fish products. This is largely in place. DBC does not host many catering events, but where we do, we often provide a completely vegetarian menu, such as the Decorum Climate Action Network event. We've also been determined to provide sustainably sourced food wherever we can. This includes prioritising locally produced, organic, and ethically sourced ingredients that align with our environmental goals. Several of the fundraisers hosted by the Mayor in 2023-4, for example, the Mayor's Green Quiz Night, provided locally sourced vegetarian menus. Moving forward to show its leadership in addressing the climate and ecological emergency, DBC's catering on its own premises will be completely meat and fish free from 2025. I hope that answers your question.
Have you got a supplementary question you'd like to ask?
Yes, thank you so much. I sincerely commend the Council's plans to provide sustainably sourced vegetarian meals from 2025. However, the provision of vegetarian menus is not equivalent to plant-based, as we already know, and the continuing to include dairy products can neither be considered sustainable, nor will it send out the right message to enable society to achieve the net zero carbon scenario that we're all aiming for in response to the climate emergency. And please allow me to explain why. Firstly, the dairy industry is responsible for the release of one of the highest levels of methane and nitrous oxide compared to other industries. Unfortunately, the effects of these two signature greenhouse gases are often downplayed by organizations like Dairy UK, who are meant to provide evidence-based information to the UK Parliament to dictate policy making. To put this into context, methane, when released, is 120 times more powerful a greenhouse gas compared to carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide is 300 times more powerful. In fact, according to the new report by the Institute for Agriculture...
Sorry, have you got a question? Because it's meant to include a question.
So my question is, will the Council be willing to work with members of the public like myself to discuss further on how we can work together to transition away from dairy and eggs? And I understand the fact that we believe or we think that it is sustainable, and we think that local is enough, we think that organic is enough. From the research that I've been doing for many, many years, unfortunately, this will not be enough to stave off the worst of what is to come. This is not an us versus them issue, this is about working together. So that is the question.
So the Council has a very strong working relationship with the Decorum Climate Action Network. We are looking to make that as engaging and consultative as possible so that the Council can be responsive to the opinion and strength of feeling on such issues within the borough. And so I'm quite happily to commit that we will keep this discussion live within the Decorum Community Action Network and see where it leads us.
Thank you so much, really appreciate it.
Right, I have no announcements, so I invite the Chief Executive to deliver her announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A neighbourhood planning referendum in Bovingdon was held on Thursday the 13th of June 2024. I can confirm that there was a 20.4% turnout and the outcome was yes to the question, do you want Decorum Borough Council to use the neighbourhood plan for Bovingdon to help it decide planning applications in the neighbourhood area? A parliamentary election was held on Thursday the 4th of July 2024 and we administered the Hemel Hempstead constituency. I can confirm that there was a 62.33% turnout and the candidate elected was David Taylor of the Labour Party. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Right, I now invite the group leaders to give any apologies for absences. Adrian, Councillor England.
Thank you, Mayor. I have apologies from Councillor Claire Hobson, Councillor Carrie Link and Councillor Sadie Hobson.
Thank you.
Apologies for Councillor Barbara Pash.
Thank you. Andrew?
Apologies for Councillor Binder, Adeliki and Durrant.
Thank you very much. I draw your attention to the portfolio holder updates as published under agenda item 5 and will invite questions against each update in turn. I will, however, invite the Leader of the Council, Councillor Adrian England, to give his verbal update. Right. First one is Councillor England.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome back, everyone, from or to summer 2024. Yes, it is summer, and a heat wave is forecast for the next few days. I'm sure this has been a busy week for most of us, getting back up to speed with the postponed OSCs, which have come back. I'd like to say a very warm welcome back to Councillor John Burney, and you have our best wishes for your health and well-being. Good to see you, sir. I should like to thank the team at DBC for a successfully and well-run PCC election and general election this year. Two in short succession. You must be completely exhausted now. We'll try and give you a rest for a while. Congratulations to David Taylor MP for Hemel Hempstead, including Bovingdon, Chipperfield and Flaundon. Congratulations also to Victoria Collins MP for Harpenden and Berkhamsted, which some have taken to calling North Dacorum. That includes Tring Rural, North Church, Oldbury, Ashridge and Watling wards. And to Gagan Mahindra MP for South West Herts, which includes Kings Langley, which is in Dacorum, obviously. Congratulations locally are also due to Councillor Andrew Williams on the award of his MBE for many years of great service in this place. And well done, Andrew. We're all jealous. This is my first normal full council meeting, and many of the meetings I anticipated in May and June are happening only now because of the general election, which was called shortly after. Last week, I attended the launch of Hertfordshire Futures with some of you, I think I saw there. That used to be known as the LEP, the Local Enterprise Partnership. And earlier today, I represented Dacorum on the Herts Leaders and the Herts Growth Board meetings, where I presented to the board as the outgoing chair of the HCCSP. I took on the position today as chair of the South West Joint Strategic Plan, and I'll sit on the Health and Wellbeing Board going forwards. Wellbeing is a really important part of knowing that we're going in the right direction in Dacorum and in Hertfordshire. I've also had a meeting with the new Police and Crime Commissioner, where we agreed on the importance of data to show where crime ought to be prevented. Please, in your wards communications, please repeat the message that every crime needs to be reported so that the police can make decisions about prevention in the right places. The Police and Crime Commissioner tells me that if he had better data, he could do a better job of running police in Hertfordshire. Dacorum, sorry, bear with me. There is one huge update which I would love to share, but it remains embargoed, and I would have to wait. But other exciting snippets that were too late to make it into portfolio holder reports include these two. Dacorum is the bees' needs. We have won a National Bees Needs Champion Award, recognising the work we do to support pollinators in Dacorum. specifically in Gadebridge Park. Check your members' news, members, for full details. I'm sure you've already been reading about it. And yesterday, I'm really pleased to say that we have now a 6th green flag park in Decorum. In that Gadebridge Park has been awarded a green flag for the first time. I'm so pleased with this, as I am on record in recent years urging the council to do it, and the Lib Dems have led it. It's clear, in closing, it's clear Decorum is making progress under the new leadership, and I cannot wait to publish the new corporate plan later on this year. We're watching the new Labour government for initiatives which may be helpful to our plans or may necessitate a response. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Guest.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Around the beginning of this year, we were told that we couldn't have a portrait of the King for the Chamber just yet because staff from Royal Images, the organisation which provides them, were diverted to dealing with inquiries about His Majesty's health. How does that square with an email that I received a couple of months ago from Premier, the Christian media organisation, which stated that portraits of the King would be available to churches after they had been available to public bodies since February?
Thank you for your question. Unfortunately, I have to say that I have not been given any information on the availability of the portrait of the King. I'm sure that we all agree that a portrait of the Queen used to be up on the wall, and we absolutely should have a portrait of the King as soon as one can be procured.
Have you another question, supplementary?
I do indeed, Madam Mayor. Thank you. My question is that I have seen 2 portraits of the King at County Hall. If the County Council has a spare one and I'm able to acquire it, then would the portfolio holder, would the leader of the council be happy for me to hang it up in the chamber?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. I wonder if it would be in order to ask the chair of Hertfordshire County Council, who's sitting next door, the word.
Thank you very much indeed. I will consider the question and reply in due course.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? No? Right, we go on to Councillor Allen, who's a portfolio holder for climate and ecological emergency.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've submitted a report from the portfolio, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Councillor England? Are you still up? Have you got a question? Oh, right, there are no questions. Oh, hang on. Councillor Stevens.
Sorry, no, just press the wrong button.
Testing me. Councillor Williams. And
I think I got the right button.
yes, you did.
In the report, it refers to EV charging points and how well it's going.
Thank you.
But looking around the borough, it doesn't seem to be going very well at all. We've had lots of posts installed, lots of parking bays marked off for up to 6 months, I suspect now in some places, but there are no signs of any EV chargers in the majority of our car parks. Can we be updated on when these may, if they are going to arrive?
I share your frustration. The defining factor that needs to be put in place is the district network operators putting in the cabling. This is something that neither the borough nor Osprey, the provider, has any control over. They seem to work to their own timetables. So there have been a number of delayed deadlines. It was meant to go in June, and that was missed. I am told that we are hoping they're going to be in place in August. As I say, it's a hope. We are in the hands of others and we have no way of influencing their decision making. We would rather they had long been in place, as you suggest.
Thank you. Have we got a supplementary at all? Another one? Thank you. Councillor Mitchell.
Hello, I'm Councillor Allen. I'm just wondering what's happening in Neighbourhood with regards to EV charging points. There has been a request.
Could you repeat that,
Yeah.
please? I didn't
Sorry
hear
that I'm
it
facing
properly.
the other way. I'm actually sitting at Councillor Pesh's seat, so I'm on the wrong mic, so let me just move it that way. Yeah, just wondering what's happening in Neighbourhood with regards to EV charging points. There's been a request. I don't think that we need many, but one would be nice.
So these are already ones that have been started to be implemented, as Councillor Williams has highlighted. So they are coming. It is taking time for the district network operator to put in place the electricity infrastructure. So they will come as soon as they are able to solve those problems, and the sooner the better from our point of view. But as I said, there's nothing I can do to speed that up. If you're talking about further EV charging points, as the report suggests, there is a further round that is being funded by Herts County Council, and officers are currently looking into suitable locations. And if you want other locations in Gabridge Park to be flagged up, then please let me know and I'll pass that on to officers.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right. The next one is Councillor Wilkie, and she's a portfolio holder for Place.
Thank you, Mayor Link. You all have my report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Councillor Guest.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In the portfolio holders report, it states that summer holiday schemes will be held at the AD Field and Bennett's End Adventure Playgrounds. Why are such schemes not being run at the Children Adventure Playground and the Woodhall Farm and Grove Hill Adventure Playground as well?
Councillor Wilkie. Oh, that's...
Yeah, okay, you can hear me now. Thank you for your question, Councillor Guest. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I know in terms of funding and officer resources, we've looked at the most peak numbers of locations, but regarding those particular ones of Woodhall Farm and Children, I'm happy to look at it and come back to you with a written answer. Thank you.
Any other question? Councillor Guest?
Madam Mayor, my supplementary, which is what the portfolio holder has sort of answered, is when a reason is found as to why Children and Woodhall Farm and Grove Hill were not included amongst these schemes, could the answer be disseminated to all council members, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Of course, as usual.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At the last business meeting of the council, the portfolio holder claimed that had I been in her shoes, I would have taken the same legal advice to drop the council's Greenbelt reason for fighting the appeal of the Rectory Farm site at King's Langley. Now, glossing over the fact that I wouldn't have done so because the legal advice was so badly flawed that anybody with any experience of the planning system wouldn't have taken it, or at the very least got a second opinion. What I want to focus on is, in view of the appeal inspector's very embarrassing decision in allowing the appeal, does the portfolio holder now regret taking that legal advice?
Thank you, Mayor. No, I don't agree with you, Councillor Anderson, and we've had this conversation on a number of occasions now. You're aware that as a council, it's incumbent upon us to ensure that we give value of money for our residents. The council advice that we took was recommended to us, it was looked at by officers, and I stand by us taking that advice. To do otherwise would fly in the face of both officers and legal advice, and you know that would leave us very vulnerable as a council. Thank you.
Yes. I have the corollary, Chair, and very briefly on that last point. If you look at the appeal decision, it clearly indicated the council was taking a massive risk with having the water cost awarded against it, so it was not being financially prudent. But my corollary question was going to be, that's in the past, that's happened now. In terms of the future, we are all expecting planning decisions to get much harder. What happens with the next Greenbelt appeal if the portfolio holder receives the same planning advice, the same legal advice to drop the council's Greenbelt reason for refusing permission in the run-up to an appeal, thereby wrecking the council's case, as happened with Rectory Farm? In a ward, let's say, where the administration might be more concerned, so for example, one of the wards between Berkhamsted and the A41, what is the portfolio holder going to do in that case? Is she going to take the legal advice and drop the council's Greenbelt refusal, or is she going to actually stand up for the policies I think is supported on all sides, Madam Mayor?
Have you got an answer?
Thank you, Mayor. You can refer to me as Councillor, Wilkie or portfolio holder. Just with regard to your oversimplistic explanation, we didn't simply abandon the Greenbelt argument. We were given advice that with the adaptations and the changes made, it would not hold as a pillar of defence. We still defended the position. As you're also aware, because you were the portfolio holder, we wouldn't have to defend these types of applications if a draft local plan had been adopted. So if you are concerned at all, Councillor Anderson, I suggest you look at the previous portfolio holder in the previous administration.
Thank you. Councillor Timmis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Could I ask the portfolio holder, on page 12 of her report, and thank you for the report, you say that the Mark Yates Conservation Area character appraisal is to be adopted by Cabinet. Could you explain why it was, as ward councillor, I was not informed about any of this?
Thank you, Councillor Timmis. These are public papers, as you know, that go through the appropriate scrutiny. I'm not sure that normally we would go to a particular councillor, but I'm certainly happy to take that up with officers and come back to you. Thank you.
Have you got another question, supplementary?
No, I haven't. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Mitchell.
Hello, I'm Councillor Wilkie. Would it be possible, please, just to offer me some reassurance that there will be a full legal team representing DBC at the public inquiry regarding the land southwest of Leighton Buzzard Road? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. Absolutely, there will be, yes.
Have you any more questions? Councillor Mitchell?
Just when it's available, would it be possible to share the details of the legal team and how senior the team is? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, our legal team is in-house, as you know, and then when we come to council representatives, then we do tend to go outside the house. But yes, absolutely, I'll talk to the appropriate officers and ask them to communicate that to you.
Thank you. Now go to Councillor Tindall, portfolio holder for People and Transformation.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Sorry, did I get that wrong?
Thank you.
Does someone else did you have a question? Came in late. Sorry. Councillor Doris.
Thank you very much indeed, Mayor. Going back to the Mark Yates question, it's always very good that there's a character appraisals that's put in place. Can the portfolio holder assure me and the residents of Mark Yates that all future developments will take due notice and represent the designs, the desires and designs that are incorporated in the character appraisal?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Doris. I think you probably know more about this than me, given all your years of experience. Yes, of course, it will be a consideration. There are different thresholds, as you know, in terms of the conservation area, architecture and such, that will be a planning expectorate threshold in the MPPF and others that we will take regard to, but they won't necessarily be a legal requirement. Thank you.
Any other question?
I'm not entirely sure that maybe I didn't ask the question clearly enough, but I'm hoping, or will the portfolio agree with my hope, that the residents of Markgate will be made aware of the fact that there is a character appraisal in place in the face of any planning applications and decisions.
Thank you, Councillor Doris, for the clarification. Yes, of course. I mean, they were part of the consultation, so they will know already. But yes, certainly we can discuss that with you in terms of the comms to ensure that that information is sent out to all the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. And go back to you, Ron, Councillor Tindall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My report is on pages 15 to 17 and happy to take questions.
Doesn't seem to be. Oh yes, Councillor Doris.
Thank you very much indeed. Portfolio holder, hello, Ron. With regard to the PMO and the performance of transformation, could you give me a little bit of information on how you're going to publicise this? Because it does seem very laudable, and I'm hoping that it's actually going to benefit or be of interest to residents. How will you publicise it to the residents of Dacorum?
I was talking to one of the strategic leadership team yesterday on the very subject of council communications and actually looking at how we publicise information such as this. We are actually looking, and we hope to have the widest possible spread, using all kinds of media in order to ensure that every resident is able to see exactly what their council is doing and the successes they are making with regard to the variety of policies that we're putting forward.
Councillor Doris.
That's very good news. Thank you very much. In the light of that, can I ask, what are some of those, could you give me some of the examples of the benefits of the PMO transformation?
Not at this stage, but I'm happy to write to you with full details.
Across the to all council members?
Will that be to all the councillors? Yes, yes. Thank you. Right. Councillor Capozzi is now the portfolio holder for corporate and commercial services. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I hope you've all read my report and I'm happy to take any questions.
Councillor Guest.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Are the results of the stock condition survey for the council's garages still being used?
Thank you, Councillor Guest. Yes, the stock condition information is being combined with the strategic asset review data that's being collected, and both sets of data will be used to inform the end result of the exercise.
Another question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since the results of the stock condition survey are being used, so the council is aware of the condition of our council garages, and why is some of the provisional surplus from 23-24 of £0.489 million not being allocated to repaint or replace garage doors which work but are unsightly and drag down the tone of areas such as Hollybush Lane.
I don't know the details of the exact locations, but I do know that the full programme of works is yet to be finalised. So I will take the information and I will ensure that the officers obviously include those particular locations. Thank you.
Councillor my voice is gone. Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm fully aware that the parking charges consultation is ongoing, and I'm sure we'll have discussions at future meetings about the issue. But for the here and now, Madam Mayor, I would like to ask the portfolio holder, with respect to particularly my ward at Kings Langley, where it's being proposed to introduce charges for the first time, there not having been any before, what professional evidence the portfolio holder used to base her decision on a feeling that one could introduce charges in a location where there isn't a demand for people to actually use the parking, to the point where alternatively they'll just go down the road and park somewhere where they don't have to pay at all. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Can I come back with a written response to that? Because there's quite a few elements of it, and I'd like to reply, and I can reply to everybody if that's okay. Thank you.
Absolutely, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Mitchell.
Councillor Capozzi, would it be possible for ward councillors to be informed in advance of the scaffolding being put up or erected at Rossgate shops?
I can certainly inquire with the officers about notification of it and how the process works.
Thank you. Councillor Hannell.
Madam Mayor, would the portfolio holder agree with me that the works that are being carried out at Bennett's Gate shops have enhanced the area and also helped the residents keep their houses warm and will keep their houses warm through the winter?
Thank you, Councillor Hannell. Yes, I think the works have been a success and have been welcomed by local residents. Thank you.
Have you another question? Thank you. Councillor it's too near the mic, sorry. Councillor Dhyani, portfolio holder for housing, property and place services.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I take report as read and happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Councillor Guest.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. When the Housing Department decided to dig and plant beds on the green between Merrow Drive and East Flint off Roseheath, why were local residents and councillors not consulted or even informed first?
I'm really sorry, I didn't get the full question. I got the half bit, second half, but I didn't get the question.
Could you repeat it, please?
Madam Mayor, I certainly can. When the Housing Department decided to dig and plant flower beds on the green off Roseheath between Merrow Drive and East Flint, why were local residents and councillors not consulted or even informed first?
Thank you for your question, Councillor. It's an initiative on small patches of housing land just to bring more visuals for the local residents living where it's literally a plain brownfield, and it's in a partnership with the Sunnyside Rural Trust. In my understanding, because I've had this conversation already with officers, they believe to have informed people locally, but I'm really happy to take it back again and maybe get you a written response that if you feel you've not been informed or discussed. Thank you.
Got another question?
I do indeed, Madam Mayor. When residents first reported to me back in April that they had not been informed, or had not been consulted, or even informed before the beds were dug, they were concerned that after the year that Sunnyside Rural Trust is managing the beds is up, then what are the ongoing plans for management? So what are the ongoing plans for management of these beds after Sunnyside Rural Trust year of managing them is over?
Thank you for that. So we've had discussion with CSG, and once Sunnyside handover, this will be taken care by CSG. Although the design and the work has been done in such a way they be quite an easy maintenance. And also to your previous question, we've had a really good feedback from residents wherever we've initiated these works. So I hope you'll feel happy when you see them ready. Thank you.
Councillor Barry Mears.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Would the portfolio holder agree with me that the flower beds and the gardens in the communities that are being dug by Sunnyside are an amazing community venture, and that Sunnyside have worked incredibly hard on these, and that all the residents in the areas they've been installed are really proud of the areas and happy to help maintain them?
Thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, I just want to really say here, since you asked the question and since you mentioned it, that personally it's a great initiative by Decorum with a very small funding because they're using Sunnyside, who then support people with learning difficulty. They're involving young people, giving them something to do where they have a sense of pride as well. And what they're delivering is a beautiful piece of work for community, which then also have some relevance to those local areas. So they're trying to do some concept work and a sense of achievement for those who are involved in these projects from Sunnyside. So I'm really proud of this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? No? Right. Now we'll go on to the last portfolio holder, Councillor Bromham, portfolio holder for Neighbourhood and Neighbourhood Operations.
Thank you. Yes, the report from my report from the Neighbourhood portfolio is in the agenda, and I welcome any questions.
Councillor Mitchell.
Hello, Councillor Bromham. Please may I ask for assurance that the play park in Gaybridge, which I think is referred to here as Warner's End Valley, will go ahead with refurbishment this year. It was due to be done in September. There was a problem with the tender, but I would expect it still to be able to be completed if possible. Residents have been informed that it will be done this year. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a number of playgrounds being refurbished at the moment, and there were various sources of funding, and as my understanding is that they're all going ahead at various times, most of them trying to avoid the school holidays.
I've got another question.
Just if it would be possible to find out and confirm when the tender will be back, because it was due back the end of June, and it's still not on the list to be done this year, but previously it was on the list to be done this year. I think we have very disappointed residents.
If it's a specific site, I don't have the list with me right now, but I'll have to give you a written answer on that. Can you describe the location again, please?
It's in Gaybridge on the dip. It's actually called Upper Warner's End, but it says Warner's End Valley here in the report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Timmis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Could I ask the portfolio holder, please, first of all say I'm pleased that at last the Rivergate restoration is apparently approved and on its way. But my question is, what about the River Ver? The River Ver is another chalk stream, and that passes through Markyate in my ward, and it has experienced in the past, 4 months, the most appalling overspill of sewage by the Thames Water sewage plant, which is located there. I'm interested to see that you're working here with the Environment Agency on the River Gade. Is there any chance that you could be looking at doing something to help out with the river there?
So the work's being started imminently on the River Gade by the Environment Agency, unfortunately don't have any bearing on the sewage which ends up in the river coming from Thames Water. And we will be having a meeting with Thames Water very soon, which are quite few and far between. I think as a overall company, I think they're in financial difficulties these days. And I will definitely be asking them about the River Ver as well as the others. And yeah, as a group, we're quite passionate about the as an administration, about the chalk streams in general. And I go to regular meetings with the Colne Catchment Area Network.
Any other question? Thank you. Councillor Santa Maria.
Thank you, Mayor. As a ward councillor for Hemel Hempstead Town, I'm delighted to see that Gadebridge Park has been awarded green flag status for the first time, joining other sites in Dacorum as great examples of the high value we place on our green spaces. How was this achieved, and how will we continue to support and develop our parks as the number of residents increases?
So yes, as an administration, we've been very keen on the biodiversity and public amenity of green and open spaces, and these align very closely with the assessment criteria used for the green flag status. So it's really the actual green flag accolade is just a recognition of all the work that is being done. So now we've got 6 green flag parks. We had 5 before, and there's sort of 27 criteria, including all the facilities, the play spaces, the maintenance, signage, access, health and safety, and landscape and heritage. So going forward, I should also give credit to the staff, who are tremendously enthusiastic and who have been we had a green flag raising ceremony a few days ago on Monday, and the staff were particularly proud of the achievements as well. And when we had the photographs, it was difficult to stop the staff from wandering off and start picking weeds. And looking forward, we want to do more of this. There's plans for the Coronation Park in Bennett's End, which includes the car park for the surgery, which has had very ambiguous usage. It used to be a tennis court and got used to the car park, but unfortunately the surface failed. So that's been quite a big task to address that. And so there's a consultation starting in the next week or so with local residents, and the designs should commence in September for the park and the car park as well. And again, these will be the Coronation Park is a tremendous asset, fantastic views from there. Go there and see the sunset, it's lovely, and it's quite underutilised. It doesn't have very much stuff in there at the moment, but work has been going on over the last year. There's been a lot of trees planted, and the tennis courts have been refurbished under the place portfolio, and there's more sports equipment going in, and more paths are planned, more planting, and more playground upgrades there as well. So really looking forward to that development in the long term as well.
Have you got another question? Any? Oh no, sorry, I'm looking the wrong way. You.
No further questions, thank you.
No, thank you. Right, next one is Councillor Mitchell again.
Hello again, Councillor Bromham. Would it be possible, the flower boxes which have been looking so lovely in town this year, to have those extended to the local neighbourhood centres? I was thinking particularly with regards to when you have a big shop refurbishment programme, it would look really nice to celebrate that with some floral display.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't quite get you at the beginning of your question.
Would it be possible to have the flower boxes that have been looking so lovely in town this year extended in the local neighbourhood centres at the shops, local shops?
Thank you. Yes. So just today, we were having a big consultation on site with the Future Neighbourhoods project in the Heights in Highfield, and so having more. So there needs to be a lot more nice stuff. We're really trying to prioritise all the things that can be fixed and upgraded, the things that have been neglected, the things that have unfortunately not been maintained as well as they could have been. So now we have more overall perspective on those things. So Steph Horn, the director in my portfolio, is now taking an overall perspective on that, which covers the other directorships as well, and that we're hoping that will tackle the kind of this. Sometimes there is a sort of silo mentality where things get addressed on a piece-by-piece basis and raised to a minimum standard, but there are things which don't get fully done. And talking to the local residents, some of whom have been there for half a century, are saying that it's not as good as it used to be. And so we're looking at all those things that can be done in the most cost-effective way. Planting and the sort of bedding plants that you're referring to are a great idea. And that's a relatively minor add-on, but it would be lovely to do something like that. We do, at the same time, we are very conscious of the pressures on the budgets of the council as a whole, and that sort of thing is getting squeezed at the same time. So the value for money is the crucial thing, and there are some areas which desperately need a bit of colour and a bit of cleaning up, and so we're hoping that this Future Neighbourhoods project, which I think is what is applicable to the bedding plants that you mentioned, hopefully that will then roll out to all of the similar areas across the Quorum.
Thank you. Coming near to the end, Councillor Freedman, is it a quick question?
I'm happy to cede my question. It's out of time.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Burney, would you like to talk quickly because we're out of time? But being as you've not, glad to see you back.
Thank you. I very much welcome the interest taken in the medical facility behind the medical centre in Bent's End. I'm glad that the councillors concerned and also the officers concerned have finally come round to the view that it is not publicly designated land and that it can be converted into a car park. In the interim, I noticed that an old lady broke her ankle in that car park, so-called, by falling down one of the huge pits made by your officers, six-wheel vehicles, which they insist when we have a meeting up there on parking on that non-parking space. Would you please ensure that they pay due attention to the rules? Thank you, Portfolio Holder.
Shall I respond to that briefly? Yeah, thank you very much, Councillor Burney, for that comment. That area was a huge challenge because its classification was very ambiguous, but certainly we'll take note of your taking care not to put heavy vehicles on it until it actually has been fixed.
Right, I'll refer you to the updated actions list as published under agenda item 6. There is one outstanding action for which the response is still in progress, and an update will be provided as soon as this information is available. For Cabinet referrals, could I ask Councillor England to introduce the referrals from the Cabinet, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Item 7, to continue to consider the following referrals from Cabinet. 7.1, CA/42/24, constitutional updates, which came to Cabinet 23rd of April 2024. This is to seek approval to agree Part 2 and 3 and 4 of Constitution and seek approval to amend the Council's financial regulations as set out in the body of the report. Are we agreed? Agreed. Thank you. And 7.2, CA/59/24, Bromham Neighbourhood Plan, which came to Council 18th or Cabinet 18th of June 2024. Are we agreed? Agreed. Thank you.
Right, I now invite the Chair of Housing and Communities, Councillor Sammy Barry-Mears, to introduce the annual reports on behalf of all the scrutiny committees. That's it, yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The reports have been circulated for the past year of the scrutiny committees, so all of the detail is in those, so I won't repeat anything that has been said. But apart from the fact that I think all of them echo the massive thank you to the officers, the hard work that's gone in over the past year. It has been a year of big changes for officers and for us as councillors, and the scrutiny committees have done a fantastic job across all parties, and that's what they do best. We really do scrutinise, and we do it impartially and well, and we really couldn't do it without the fantastic officers and the work that they put in. We do have a borough that has staff members who really care about the area, and it is really shown and it is echoed in when residents are engaged. So when we've had more recent resident engagement events, it's really coming back to us. People are seeing that we have a borough that care, and I think that's really been shown in our scrutiny. And when I speak with the other chairs and speak to all members, really, there's a huge pride in our borough, and I think that's reflected through all of us. So just a thank you, not just to those that sit on my committee, but to all that partake in scrutiny and all of us for being here as councillors and working with the fantastic officers.
Well said, thank you. I'm very happy to see that Councillor Burney is here tonight, so we've no need to put this next item on the agenda. I'm very pleased to see you, and thank you for coming tonight. Thank you. And changes to committee membership. Are there any changes to committee membership? Yes?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, just a couple. Just to remove Councillor Macarivi from Housing and Communities OSC Committee, and for Councillor Caroline Smith-Wright, who is now the Vice Chair of Health and Wellbeing and Decorum, and is also the nominated rep to Hertfordshire County Council Health Scrutiny.
Thank you. Any changes in yours, Councillor Williams?
No, Madam Mayor, but in relation to the last announcement, you've taken someone off of housing. I didn't understand who was going on.
What? Me?
No.
Oh, sorry.
I think it's an administrative correction because I think Councillor Macarivi wasn't meant to be left on, but it's still showing her attendance against that committee.
So haven't you, Councillor Williams, you haven't got any changes at all? And in your party, Angela?
No, no changes.
Thank you, thank you. Right, changes to committee dates. Are there any changes to committee dates? Councillor England.
I didn't realise I had the latitude to change the dates.
All right, thank you, thank you. Right, I think that comes to the conclusion of the end of the council meeting, and